Welcome to Modern Mystic Messages. I'm Teresa. This is your first time here joining, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back, soul family. In any event, I'm happy that you're here. And I am just glad to be back. I've been out of commission for a few days, so I appreciate your patience with me in that. And this actually is not truly a part two to the other reading, but I do believe they go hand in hand because I actually pulled this reading before I did the other reading I uploaded today. That reading is entitled, I believe, and we're going to call it There's a Hater in the Mix, but It Can't Stop This Sacred Union, something to that effect. So definitely go back and check that reading out. It was using some different cards, but I was being called to use a deck, a couple of decks today that I normally don't use on the channel. They're very intense decks. They're intensive decks that are based on the Tao and the I Ching. Very comprehensive decks that are not easy to use, like just intuitively. They genuinely need to be used according to the book interpretations of them. And I'm not even using them exactly as the book recommended. However, like I said, when it came to me as a way I could potentially use these two decks together, I wanted to give it a try. So, of course, I sat down and cleansed the cards, called in our guides, and shuffled and all of that. And what came out of the deck for this initial reading, I didn't want to go back and pull again. I wanted to actually go ahead and read these because, like I said, the way the it does require going into the book, but it really identifies something beautiful here. So without further ado, we're going to jump on in here. Now, I did go ahead and pull some oracles at the beginning just to kind of lead us into it, and I'm glad I did that as well because it honestly, this one came out in the other reading. I pulled the oracles after these other cards. I pulled these like last night, and I pulled these right before I sat down to record. But this card actually came out in the pull that I did during the other reading, Honest Echoes. Listen to the whispers of your heart, for you know the whole truth. And it talks about unwavering faith also, standing firm in your beliefs, your spirit, your steadfast spirit guides you through uncertainty. And then we have slow climb. You're getting there one steady step at a time with a little bit of effort, and that it's worth the effort. Also, going forward, don't dwell on the past, but focus on creating a brighter future. And the other side of this card is talks about manifesting the new. So, truthfully, the question at hand that we were bringing in was talking about manifesting love, and I'll get to it a little bit later. But right in again, right off the gate, the lovers did come out, but in the pile to clarify them, prosperity begins came also. So I really understand that the love and money in this instance are tied together. So that's one of the reasons I want to take a deeper look for those who are calling in this divine counterpart to kind of see where we're going, if there's anything that we need to be more mindful of to work on internally or even within the relationship. Kind of see if spirit has any messages for us from the Tao or from the I Ching, because it gives us those more introspective moments that allow for soul growth. Now, let's see, as far as the angels and ancestors, we have legacy of the prophet here, wisdom left for the future. Song of the ocean, flow with life's currents, and watcher of the peaks, overlook your life path from above. That really let me know that yes, we need to take this deeper look into the Tao and see what they've got cooking for us, because yeah, sometimes, well, with anything, you think about what you can see, what the ant can see on the ground right in front of it from a couple of millimeters off the ground. Think about what the ant can see versus what the eagle can see soaring out over the mountaintop. So looking at it from above allows you to see a lot more. Even if it may be things you're initially uncomfortable with, it's better to be aware of them so you can see them and get that taken care of to bring something in harmoniously later. Now, the Rumi cards, we have silencing the mind. Let silence guide you to your inner peace. Drunk with love, let love lift you to freedom. Beyond the ego, surrender to the flow of life. And transformation, let love transform you forever. So definitely a very transformative love coming in, something unlike anything we've experienced before. And Spirit is saying, go within so that you can get direction on that, but do understand that this is something that we're being asked to, is being called in for us, and we're being asked to go with this. Like I said, go with the flow. Go with the flow. It's part of your soul contract. Soul agreement came in here. Soul mission, soul plan, life purpose. Along with the entrance stone, new beginnings, step forward, expansion, and good luck, auspicious, wishes granted, blessings. So you asked for this. It may have been so long ago you forgot asking for it, but it don't matter. Spirit heard you and it's coming. It's just taking a minute, but that's all right too. And then we have Lady of the Lake here, new beginnings. Something is about to happen. Making waves, momentum is building. It's your time. Achievement and metamorphosis. Embrace transformation. Things are now different. So yeah, and I honestly believe it's for both parties to this. It's not just you. It's not a pointing the finger at. This is a gradual metamorphosis that's been happening on both sides of this equation, so that you all can come together. Now, like I said, well, I will just look at the cards on the surface and then get into the book meanings a little bit deeper so that you can get the gist of it, even if you're not particularly wanting all of the meanings. But I'm trying to tell you, I think I would too. We started out here with influence, which is talking about courtship, mutual attraction, affection, magnetism, connecting. And then the well is here, water above, wind below. Isn't that beautiful? And then the lovers and prosperity begins. Now these decks are written, well actually, no, yeah, these are in cooperation. My Devi Padma, or my Padma Devi wrote both of these decks, but I mean this is like the tarot deck, and this is the oracle. But don't these images remind you of each other? The lovers here along with this one. And like I said, I shuffled separately for them, but they came out this way. So I just really thought that was kind of cool. And then in this particular spread that I pulled, it's called the diamond, and I did get an extra space because another card came out. It normally calls for 5 cards, but in this position it was talking about the issue. So what do we have here? Prosperity begins and the lover. So the love and the money situation is what we're addressing here. In the second position, we have the internal influence that you're unable to see. And with that, we have the joyous happiness, delight, interaction, open communications, self-expression, along with the rebel, which is the equivalent to, I think, the emperor card in the tarot, but yeah. And then awareness. So there's something going on the internal scape that you're unable to see right now that's influencing this love situation. So that's what really made me want to kind of dig in here a little bit more. But the card that came with that is harmony, earth above, sky below. And then we have the external influence of which you are aware. And with this, we have the attraction of opposites, seduction, temptation, magnetism, a passionate encounter, meeting halfway. It talks about coupling and sexual union. And that came along with the burden, the Six of Clouds, or which are swords, basically in this deck, the Six of Swords. So it's been some kind of a upheaval that you're having to heal and move beyond, along with this truth and repairing the damage. See how I'm saying? And again, I pull all six of one card and go to all, and the way they came out, they're still. I knew that I needed to share this reading. So because we had the burden here, the Six of Swords, along with repairing the damage, mountain above, wind below. And that's, like I said, I honestly believe that is the truth of the matter. That is an external influence that you need to be aware of. Now, what is needed for resolution? Gathering together, converging, unifying, assembling, combining forces. The sum is greater than its parts. Along with turning in, which is the Four of Cups or Four of Water in this deck. An increase, wind above, thunder below. And of course, there's three, rejoice and celebration. This reminds me of the Three of Cups. Well, it like literally is a Three of Cups, but this is from the what is it? Not the Akashic Tarot. I can't remember, but anyway. And then the resolution or the understanding is the turning point, the start of a new cycle, right timing, regeneration, inevitability, steady improvements, along with completion, which is like the world card. And two cards came here, universe and spiritual union. That lets me know that this is something that is being divinely guided here. And affluence. So we're back to the love and money going hand in hand again. Fire above, sky below. And then I pulled one more position, like I said, because of the way the cards just, more than one came out. So I guess this will be like Spirit's overall say so on the matter. Pushing upward, steady progress, gaining confidence, accepting challenges, a promotion, and receiving recognition are here with this pushing upward. We have the 10 of Cups or 10 of Water, harmony, along with triumph and accelerated motion, and returning, earth above, thunder below. Now, I wanted to get in here and look at these cards and see how they work together. And one of the things that, like I said, I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do this, and I'm going to show you why. These, the Tao card and the I Ching, go, part of the interpretive aspect of them involves what they call using a hexagram. And it's right here. These lines, the way these lines, basically, if you're using the deck with each other, for example, if I pulled these two together, it's a base point for the reading to start, and I would have to compare which lines are different, and the changing lines are the interpretation that you read in the book. So in this one, the I Ching cards, or the Tao cards, I'm sorry, are read from the bottom to the top. So what are different here? Lines 1 and 2 and 3. So those would be the ones that I would read there. And the same kind of goes for the I Ching cards, except their hexagram reads top to bottom. So in this one, it would be line 2 that's different. And let's see, 2 and 6 would be the ones that I would look at that would be different. I'm sorry, 2, 3, and 6 are the lines that would be different here that I would look whenever I'm going into the reading and looking at the meanings of these cards. I would go and look at the meanings behind lines 2, 3, and 6 to get a better idea of how these cards relate to the issue at hand that I'm coming up with. So that being said, let's get on in here and take a peek. Wait a minute. Oh, here we go with this. I done messed up the cards. Nope, there we go. There we go. Make sure I get these right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, since I'm not reading hexagrams within each deck, we're going to look at these two together and see which ones are different, and then look at the book meanings for them based on the differences between these two. In this one, let's see, line 2 is different, 3, yeah, 2 and 3 are the ones that I need to look at for these two. So we're going to start with, we'll start with the well. Throughout all the, it would be nice if I showed you the card and not the back, huh? My bad. Throughout all the cultures of the world, the well has served as a symbol for that which sustains life and provides a constant and inexhaustible source of nourishment. Human nature is basically the same. The passage of time cannot add to its dimensions nor take anything away. Still, just as the well can be deepened to produce clearer water, we can enrich our lives by delving deeply within to tap our essential nature and reach the true source of spiritual nourishment. Beware of shallow thinking. The image of the well suggests that going further within produces greater clarity. Be patient and you will penetrate your problems and your own nature as deeply as you can. Self-development is key to reaching down to tap for the clear water. If you do not lower your bucket into the depths, you're likely to come up empty. Remember, when greater depth is sought, lessening the speed of normal operations may be required. A shallow carelessness in the process of meeting deeper needs can be self-defeating or even dangerous. Now, in the changing lines, we have line 2 here. The water in the well is clear, but it is not being used. This illustrates the situation of a person who possesses talents that are being ignored. Others will begin to neglect you when you neglect what is best in yourself. At a time such as this, nothing significant can be accomplished even when bad fortune isn't indicated. And line 3 says, the well is clean but not being used. This is a shame, for like an abandoned well, your abilities are not being recognized, to your own dissatisfaction and to the detriment of others. If someone in a high position, or perhaps the highest and best part of yourself, recognizes your abilities, then you can shift direction and still gain magnificent good fortune. So the issue at hand is the love coming in, as well your connection and your money. And Spirit is saying, or the Tao is letting you know, somewhere you're not using full potential, which is slowing down everything. Maybe there's some imposter syndrome there, doubting your own abilities, maybe not even recognizing that you made the spiritual progress that you have, or just waiting, so busy, like I said. And truthfully, I get it, because I've been in this, I'm going through, going through the same scenario of kind of holding back in fear based on the past stuff, not even realizing you've ascended past that point. There's no need for you to continue holding back, and certainly no need to continue to wait on something, because Spirit is now. There was a time when Spirit may have very well told you, hold on, hold up, grasshopper, just chill, stand down, but go inward and do some introspective work. Is Spirit still telling you to stand down, or are you just crouching in fear at this point? Sometimes I think it may be a little bit of the crouching in fear at this point. Now let's take a look at influence here and see what it, open right up to it. And again, let's see, mutual attraction is stimulating. It is a magnetic, deeply energizing dynamic between two people that can be profoundly enriching, or, on the other hand, simply acting out of compulsiveness and the need for self-gratification. Uh-oh. The critical difference lies in whether or not there is genuine mutual respect. Keeping things in perspective when the emotional climate is heating up is only possible. Okay, yeah, they got something on. Just making sure. It's only possible when some balance is maintained through periodic. Let me start over. Keeping things in perspective when the emotional climate is heating up is only possible when some balance is maintained through taking periodic breaks that allows both parties to step back from the intensity. This capacity to keep a distance enables trust to develop and creates space for the natural rhythms between people to involve. In other words, not love bombing the heck out of each other, because you can't ever get to anything real if you're too soon to get physically involved. Then it becomes a battle of the pheromones instead of actually being able to think this thing through and properly vet the person. Or if you're too busy performing love bombing for each other, you don't get to see who they really are either in that instance. In the early stages of a strong mutual attraction, it is more than challenging to pull back and cool down, especially when everything inside you is driven by passion. But in any event, the passage of time will surely turn down that heat, and being able to consider the relationship in the light of less obvious passions enables you to anticipate this natural process. In this way, even at the outset, a passionate relationship is given a far better chance to mature and ripen rather than burn out from intensity and go stale and flat. And then it talks about the power of attraction being exploited in the media, how everything is like how we've been hypersexualized. I'm not going to read all of that, but I want to get to the changing lines. We had 2 and 3, so let's look here. When an attraction is particularly strong and compelling, it has an almost hypnotic power. It takes a special quality of alertness to not fall into a deep sleep of wish fulfilling fantasies. If you're feeling particularly dreamy these days, consider pinching yourself from time to time, if for no other reason than to remind yourself that you're still here. Line 3 says, often problems that surface later in a relationship are those which first appear as all or nothing quick fixes. Once our emotions color our investments in a specific outcome, we unbalance the ecology of relating and deny nature the opportunity to take its course. Plotting and manipulating to make sure you get what you want creates mistrust and ultimately takes you further and further away from unity. Okay? So definitely can understand that. And then we have the card, the Lovers here. Let's see what this has for us here. What we call love is really a whole spectrum of relating, reaching from the earth to the sky. At the most earthy level, love is sexual attraction. Many of us remain stuck there because our conditioning has burdened our sexuality with all kinds of expectations and repressions. Actually, the biggest problem with sexual love is that it never lasts. Only if we accept this fact can we then really celebrate it for what it is, welcome its happening, and say goodbye with gratitude when it's not. Then, as we mature, we can begin to experience the love that exists beyond sexuality and honors the unique individuality of the other. We begin to understand that our partner often functions as a mirror, reflecting unseen aspects of our deeper self and supporting us to become whole. This love is based in freedom, not expectation or need. Its wings take us higher and higher towards the universal love that experiences all as one. These three things are to be taken note of. The lowest love is sex, it is physical, and the highest refinement of love is compassion. Sex is below love, compassion is above love, love is exactly in the middle. Very few people know what love is. 99% of people, unfortunately, think sexuality is love. It is not. Sexuality is very animal. It certainly has the potential of growing into love, but it is not actual love, only a potential. If you become aware and alert, meditative, then sex can be transformed into love. And if your meditativeness becomes total, absolute, love can be transformed into compassion. Sex is the seed, love is the flower, compassion is the fragrance. Buddha has defined compassion as love plus meditation. When your love is not just a desire for the other, when your love is not only a need, when your love is a sharing, when your love is not that of a beggar but an emperor, when your love is not asking for something in return but is ready only to give for the sheer joy of giving, then add meditation to it and the pure fragrance is released. That is compassion. Compassion is the highest phenomenon. I think it's very interesting that the emperor did come out in this very same deck, a couple positions down. So we're definitely going to take a look at that. But like I said, it is also key to your prosperity beginning here. And I'm loving the fact that the reading is starting out by focusing on the fact that even though this relationship is going to be hot, 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 smoking hot, probably more mind-blowingly hot than anything that you have ever experienced or even dared to imagine. However, that's still not the point of it. The point of it is so much bigger than that. Enjoy that, yes, of course, especially if you've been on a celibate path for a long time to prepare yourself for this. Enjoy every bit of that, but do understand that that's not the point of it. And I honestly think that's where we wind up with a lot of problems in the twin flame so-called community, when people start fussing and complaining about false twins and all of that. There's no such thing as a false twin. Those people that are out there ranting and raving about a false twin is because they've been trying to squeeze a square peg into a round hole. Women that have heard about the twin flame journey and are so excited and want it so badly till they've decided that that karmic soulmate that they're trying desperately to hold on to and make do what they want to do, they've decided that that's their twin flame, and very often it's not. And it can be the same for men too. I'm not saying that women are the only ones that get it wrong, but 99% of the ones you'll find in any of the twin flame forums that are complaining about runner chaser cycles and how it's a false twin that won't act right, 99% of those are women. And by the tone of the complaining and stuff that they do, it is very easy to see that 99% of them are women who think that they're far more healed and more spiritually advanced than they are. It's like they literally have an attitude of, well, I've done this and I've done this healing and I've ascended and I've awakened and he won't come along, and why? And sometimes there is a discrepancy between, and usually there is, the female, the feminine tends to awaken first, and she will catalyze growth in the male. But if she still got an attitude about where he's at spiritually, guess what? She's not nearly where she thinks she is spiritually. If she's fussing about why it's taking him so long to catch up to her spiritually, she ain't nowhere near where she thinks she is. That's just the truth of it. So definitely enjoy this when you get it, but understand that the physicality of it is just the tip of the iceberg and not truly the main show. Like I said, that's not the big show. Now, we said this was the internal. We're going next to the second position, the internal influence that you're unable to see. Excuse me. And we had to look at between the joyous and harmony. And in this hexagram, line 3, 4, and 5 are what are different. So we're going to start with harmony here in the I Ching. 11. Earth seems to be above heaven, and heaven is on earth. The gravity of matter merges with the upward radiation of light to create a condition of deep harmony. This juxtaposition denotes a time of peace and blessings for all living things. In the affairs of humanity, tranquility comes when the good, strong, and powerful show favor to the lowly, and those of more modest means are well disposed toward those who are currently blessed. There is an end to all feuds. In such a state, the energy is high, the way is clear, and the prospects for great success are outstanding. A deep chaos abides in nature, but humanity, by carefully responding to the rhythms and cycles of the times, can find peace in the natural world. By planting the right crop in the right place in the right season, the mindfulness of the farmer brings harmony to the natural world of plants and, in return, prosperity to his family. Similarly, business needs to adjust to the natural cycles of different seasons. Only through flexibility and constant adjusting can order and growth both be maintained. This peace produces a time of flowering and prosperity. The wise person channels his positive energy to all areas of life and in proper proportion, just as a farmer waters his or her fields and orchard. But be vigilant and discriminating. Peaceful conditions promote the growth of weeds as well as flowers. So definitely discernment is key. And what did I say here? Let me look again. Harmony and the joyous. We've got 1 and 2 are different. 1, 2, and 6 are the changing lines. You got to remember that. So line 1, in times of peace and prosperity, an individual of high purpose is able to draw like-minded people to a good cause. As such people become available, enlist their support. Now is the time for people of talent to set out to accomplish something. Line 2, the great danger in a time of peace is a weakening of resolve at the center of things. The true leader uses such periods to tend to all necessary tasks, pleasant and unpleasant, safe and unsafe, so that nothing is neglected. The master of events, like any great artist, finds a use for everything and gives everyone a role to play. Be watchful for the rise of factions or cliques. They are often the first sign of approaching decay. In line 6, when prosperity leads to decay, misfortune follows. Imagine an ancient city's wall collapsing into its moat, offering access instead of protection. In times of collapse, it helps no one to fight against overwhelming odds. Moral strength is called for instead of resistance. Likewise, in times of peace, necessary defenses can erode. The fortress can still become vulnerable to attack. Try not to be like the citizens who, having become lazy and indifferent, put their homes at risk. Be prepared for external problems. Do not allow yourself to become complacent. Okay? So definitely, like I said, want to look at drawing like-minded people, but using discernment, especially since every time we keep seeing this sacred love and union come up, there is still some hater energy on the fringes. There's some karmic folks in the background, whatever you want to call them, that don't really like that this is happening for you or to you. They don't really like the fact that you got this divine counterpart coming in. And your divine counterpart probably got haters on their ass too. Let's just be real. You're mirroring each other. Did you really think that you sitting back going through the hell you going through to have this ascension and this rebirth and awakening and the healing and the dark night of the soul and the blah, 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 all of that stuff? Did you really think that your partner ain't going through the same thing too? Whether you've met them yet or not, whether you have any clue who they are yet or not, I guarantee you they're probably going through their version of the same thing. So a little discernment is key, and a whole lot of grace is key. Because if you calling in this kind of love and manifesting what it goes along with this kind of love, there's gonna be haters that come with it, and it's not an instant process, and a whole lot of discernment, because they're gonna try to tear your house down from within. They just will. Not saying they're gonna succeed. The spirit is just saying be diligent and vigilant and use your discernment so that it doesn't. Like I said, awareness here is key. That's one of the reasons I believe it came out here. This is very much a card of using your intuition. Now here's where the Emperor came out with. We got to look at the Joyous first. I'm sorry. Card 58. When your cup is overflowing, why try to contain it? Feel free to feel good and to spread the goodwill around. There is great pleasure to be had now by sharing your good feelings and supporting others. This is an opportunity to magnify a winning situation. There is support for others. Wait a minute. There is great pleasure to be had by sharing your good feelings and supporting others. This is an opportunity to magnify a winning situation. There is support for whatever you hope to accomplish, and your positivity can have a strengthening, vitalizing influence on others. So don't limit your vision or withhold your expressions of goodwill, as this is the time for realizing your long-held dreams. Miracles really are only possible when you let your heart and imagination flow freely. The way is open to move toward achieving something of real value in your life. Okay, I don't think I need to continue to expound on joy, but I do want to look at the changing lines here. Okay, line 1. The joy that is nourished from within liberates the heart. You can experience it as sweet serenity and harmony with others. Line 2, you can soar above the cloudy skies of likes and dislikes and experience oneness with existence. Your heart is not tempted by anything that would cause remorse. Sorrow and regret are left far behind. In line 6, if you enjoy the experience, if the joy you experience is dependent on worldly pleasures, recognition, or gratification, it is as insubstantial as a leaf in the wind. You have become a victim of circumstance rather than a master of your own fate, and as a result, you repeatedly find yourself swept along by the latest trends, the newest people, or philosophies. By being uncompromisingly truthful with yourself, you can restore clarity within, and which will have a ripple effect on your circumstances. So you got to try to figure out how and when, or make sure that you're being joyful because you choose to be. It's not necessarily dependent or contingent upon external circumstances. If your happiness is dependent on what other people are doing, you're going to find a new reason to be miserable your whole life, which will make it infinitely more difficult to bring in this kind of love, because this kind of love comes from healed happiness from within. People go, oh, you complete me. No. If you need to call in another person to complete you, please don't do that, because it's not fair to you or them. This kind of love is from two whole, happy, complete people getting together beforehand. If you need that person to complete you, you need to stay in solitude a little while longer and finish healing. Because once you're healed and choose joy for the sake of joy and understand that happiness is an inside job, everything shifts then. Like everything. So now let's look here at the Rebel. The powerful and authoritative figure in this card is clearly the master of his own destiny. On his shoulder is an emblem of the sun, and the torch he holds in his right hand symbolizes the light of his own hard-won truth. Whether he is wealthy or poor, the rebel is really an emperor because he has broken the chains of society's repressive conditioning and opinions. He has formed himself by embracing all the colors of the rainbow, emerging from the dark and formless roots of his unconscious past, and growing wings to fly into the sky. His very way of being is rebellious, not because he is fighting against anybody or anything, but because he has discovered his own true nature and is determined to live in accordance with it. The eagle is his spirit animal, a messenger between earth and sky. The rebel challenges us to be courageous enough to take responsibility for who we are and to live our truth. People are afraid, very much afraid of those who know themselves. They have a certain power, a certain aura, and a certain magnetism, a charisma that can take out alive young people, that can take out alive young people from the traditional imprisonment. The enlightened man cannot be enslaved. That is the difficulty, and he cannot be imprisoned. Every genius who has known something of the inner is bound to be a little difficult to be absorbed. He is going to be an upsetting force. The masses don't want to be disturbed, even though they may be in misery. They are in misery, but they are accustomed to the misery. And anybody who is not miserable looks like a stranger. The enlightened man is the greatest stranger in the world. He does not seem to belong to anybody. No organization confines him, no community, no society, no nation. And remember what I said about who you're being called to be and the partner that you're calling into in this. I mean, power couple in this context, I mean, it's the best word that I got because that's what people recognize. But by the world standards, it's a pitiful description for what you're calling into yourself. Two awakened, enlightened, aware beings who have chosen to be let happiness be an inside job and actually heal and find this point of harmony are virtually unstoppable because they're not looking for their happiness for anything. They do not conform to society at all. They are genuinely secret weapons in God's army of light. And the world will notice you. This is a disruptive, holy love. Absolutely disruptive because you were sent here to be a disruptor for this nonsense that's been playing out for thousands of years. This is the age of Aquarius. This is bringing in something new. This is the foundation, the building blocks of New Earth. Yes, yes, yes. Now, for our next position, we're looking at the external influences of which we are aware. And like I said, that comes with the truth and the burden. Like I said, all of the haterade and the attraction of opposites, repairing this damage. Now, on the hexagrams, we have line 1 is different, 2 is different, 3 is different. 1, 2, 3, and 6 are the changing lines here between these two. So let's look at repairing the damage. Mountain above, wind below. When something is rotting, it is time to repair the damage. In the world of human affairs, self-indulgence and corruption grow like weeds in an untended garden. They must be faced squarely and rooted out through bold action. Eliminating corruption and the sloppiness that leads to it is an ennobling and human enterprise as it clears the way for fresh, new beginnings. Such repair efforts ultimately lead to supreme success. This is a time to be lean and efficient. The weeds must be rooted out before the whole garden is lost. Fighting decay, indifference, and corruption, it is not a simple matter, or is not a simple matter. The steps must be evaluated carefully, and planning should precede action. Resist the temptation to strike out prematurely. Gather strength around you and marshal your inner resources. Arresting decay requires a strong effort. When you do act, pay close attention to the process. Make your strike as precise and clear as the path of the surgeon's knife. Line 1. Excessive reliance on tradition may have produced some corruption, But in this case, it is not yet deeply rooted. Repair can be achieved without too much effort, even though some danger is present. Remain alert to the risks inherent in change, and you will be able to avoid possible damage. Repair in itself is not a panacea, however. Restorative efforts must be watched carefully, particularly in the early stages, to see that the previous rot is not contaminating them as well. In attempting to repair difficult situations that involve long-standing relationships, a certain lightness of spirit is called for. Among friends and intimates, a well-timed jest can be an effective lance. Righteous indignation, on the other hand, is more like a crude bomb, one that is liable to blow up in your face. In line 3, everyone makes mistakes, and most people want to correct them, but only the wise know when to stop trying. What's done is done. You cannot unring the bell. Even so, it is better to be too energetic in trying to rectify past errors than to have no conscience at all. Just be mindful of when the effort surpasses the deed. Do not get trapped in the past. In line 6, important work takes place on a day-to-day in the day-to-day world. However, there are higher priorities closer to home too. Stopping to let the world go by you as you cultivate your personal growth is of great value, not only to you, but ultimately to others as well. Just remember that when withdrawing from events, it is essential to avoid falling into the trap of sitting idly by and criticizing the actions of others. Now is the time to focus on what you can do to evolve. And this is touch and go as you heal and ascend and realize what's comfortable for you and what's not, what can come along with and what cannot. And you start kind of surgically removing these energies and often people from your lives. It has to be done lovingly and with compassion. That's not saying you got to keep these toxic people around you, because by all means do not, but you're not going to be sitting back from a judgmental, hateful place either. For whatever reason, you both showed up to play this game or play out this karmic lesson. You learned and got what you needed from it. And for whatever reason, they chose not to graduate from their lesson. You can walk away from it. You can remove that energy from you, but you can also do it without animosity. Because holding on to the animosity and the blame and the looking down and the judgment, that keeps you stuck right there with them. Like, really, you cannot ascend past it as long as you're sitting there holding it in angry judgment. Now let's look at the attraction of opposites, number 44. Mutual attraction is an indication of compatibility, but does not necessarily guarantee it. Inexplicably, attraction can disappear as easily as it appeared, leaving both parties wondering, what was that all about? When two people are genuinely attracted, the ideal would be to approach each other from positions of equality and independence, ready and willing to meet on equal ground. When the pull of attraction is accompanied by enough patience to let things develop naturally, true friendship can result. And whatever else is going on in this type of atmosphere, any commitments made are based on respect for each partner's uniqueness and independence. Such a relationship emphasizes maintaining balance and supporting each other's conscious evolution rather than excess, over emotionalism, and unconscious behavior. And honestly, I gotta, because you think about one of your exes that particularly irritates you. Remember, they wasn't always like that. You used to be super attracted to them, and everything. Oh, this little quirky thing was so cute, and you just ate it up. But when that relationship proved not to be reciprocal, the attraction died, and now all the stuff you used to think was wonderful irritates the fire out of you, right? That person that you thought was oh so handsome now looks like a steaming pile of horse poo, right? Yeah. Reciprocity is, like I said, it has to be some give and take, because other than that, you'll continue to you can try to pretend like you can still be nice to them and all that, and you can try to pretend like you're still attracted to them, but if you're not getting anything back and you're not seeing that level of give and take, the attraction is going to fade. It's going to. And once it does, no matter how much you try to talk yourself into believing that you said, nah, it's done. It's just done. All the way, done. Yeah. Now, the changing lines. Number one, be alert to anything that might be undermining well being. Every time your mind sweeps you up in extremes, take note and nip it in the bud. Otherwise, out of unawareness regarding the power of your own thoughts, you could easily dally in the little intrigues that will soon become big dramas. Line 2. Negative thinking is like a virus. It needs to be checked when it first appears so that it doesn't spread. You must be very diligent to clear your mind of inner complaints and judgments. At the same time, avoid being influenced by someone else's unhealthy attitude. Line 3, you've become preoccupied, and the direction you're attracted to is prompting hesitation and uncertainty. The situation is uncomfortable, but if you press forward, you are choosing to resist the natural support of Tao. It is best to become clear within your own mind before making any moves. And 6, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. This is one of those times when you'll be judged unfavorably, whatever you do. It will go against your grain to postpone now because of others' opinions. So make a decision and stick to it. Once you do, you won't look back. So yeah, they may not like when you got to make those changes, but you ain't making it for them. You're making them for you. And again, you don't have to be nasty or hateful about it, but you do have to be firm in your decisions, especially when you know it's something that's for your own soul protection and soul growth. And like I said, with that, we have that was the external stuff you're dealing with. This burden card here and truth. Let me see. We got the 6 of clouds. The burden. When we carry a load of shoulds and shouldn'ts imposed on us by others, we become like this ragged, struggling figure trying to make its way uphill. Go faster, try harder, reach the top, shouts the foolish tyrant he carries on his shoulder, while the tyrant himself is crowned with an imperious rooster. If life these days feels like a struggle from the cradle to the grave, it could be time to shrug your shoulders and see what it feels like to walk without these characters on your back. You have your own mountains to conquer, your own dreams to fulfill, but you will never have the energy to pursue them until you release yourself from all the expectations you've gathered from others but now think are your own. Chances are they exist only in your own mind, but that doesn't mean they can't weigh you down. It's time to lighten up and send them on their way. A man's true life is the way in which he puts off the lie imposed by others on him. Stripped, naked, natural, he is what he is. This is a matter of being and not of becoming. The lie cannot become the truth. The personality cannot become your soul. There is no way to make the non-essential is the essential. The non-essential remains non-essential and the essential remains essential. They are not convertible. And striving towards truth is nothing but creating more confusion. The truth has not to be achieved. It cannot be achieved. It is already the case. Only the lie has to be dropped. All aims and ends and ideals and goals and ideologies, religions and systems of improvement and betterment are lies. Beware of them. Recognize the fact that as you are a lie. Manipulated, cultivated by others, striving after truth is a distraction and a postponement. It is the lie's way to hide. See the lie, look deep into the lie of your personality, because to see the lie is to cease to lie. No longer to lie is to seek no more for any truth. There is no need. The moment the lie disappears, truth is there in all its beauty and radiance. In the seeing of the lie, it disappears, and what is left is the truth. Wow, and that's interesting. Like I said, that burden and truth came here together with this repairing the damage. This reading is super deep, but like I said, I definitely know I'm gonna go back and have to look at it again too, because wow. Now moving on here for the fourth position, what is needed for resolution? And we've got gathering together along with this increase, and the changing lines are 1 and 4. 1, 4, and 6 are the changing lines. So let's see here with increase. Oh, 42. Wind above, thunder below. Substantial progress and increasing prosperity are exhilarating and good as long as you go with the flow and keep the interests of others in mind. Like a river's whitewashed rapids, periods of increase can be of short duration. It furthers one to ride the rapids now while the waves of opportunity are high. Leadership in times of increasing opportunity involves commitment to the needs of cohorts or dependents. By remembering that to lead is to serve, a leader strengthens their ability to bring about a lasting increase in prosperity. In a time of general increase, those who contribute most directly to the common good will achieve the greatest and most long lasting rewards. When opportunities for increase arise, very good fortune comes to those who act swiftly and boldly without falling into the trap of letting their actions be merely self serving. If you aspire to a position of prominence, the most enduring strategy is to work to raise the tide of your entire community, company, or relationship rather than setting out to swim upstream on your own. When the times favor prosperity and when leadership is in the hands of the broad minded, supreme good fortune is the result. And let me see, we said increase and gathering together. Sorry, because they read from top to bottom and bottom to top, I still have to, it just trips me up sometimes. So I said 1 and 2, 4 and 5, 4, 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. That's a lot. Let me see. No, 2 is this. I'm sorry. It's 1, 2. Yeah, it is. Everything but number 4. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 are the changing lines. When you're the recipient of what might be considered blind luck, realize that good fortune has found you because you allowed room for it to enter. Luck is most attracted to selflessness. When luck shows up in the form of new wealth, power, or energy, it is best preserved and strengthened by sharing this increase with others, perhaps by donating time to worthwhile and selfless pursuits. On the other hand, self absorbed individuals whose entire purpose is personal accumulation of wealth and power, soon become prisoners to their own desires. Line 2. Sometimes sudden good fortune is as disruptive to its recipient as a calamity. When good fortune falls into your life, the surest means of staying on course is to reinforce your love of the good. Operate from a sincere desire to extend the power of your integrity and loyalty into the outer world. By remaining true to your higher self, good fortune becomes a lasting condition and small obstacles are easily overcome. If you have an instinctive desire to help others at a time like this, heed it. Don't be afraid to follow your heart when it desires to do good. Line 3. Even a miscalculation or seemingly an unfortunate event can lead to good luck in a time of general increase. Picture a baseball player on a hot streak who is fooled by an inside pitch. Despite his blunder, the ball accidentally hits his bat and bloops a hit while he is trying to get out of the way, and he advances to first base. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. When things are going well, it still behooves you to set up and prepare for your bat, to prepare to swing your bat. Line 5, a kind heart does not make demands or ask for recognition. Genuine kindness and consideration flow naturally and spontaneously. In such conditions, supreme fortune abounds. And line 6, this line refers to someone who has isolated themselves by abusing power or being insensitive to the needs of others, particularly others who are in dependent positions. Becoming greedy or power hungry comes wait a minute. Becoming greedy or power hungry causes one to lose touch because a broad vision is needed to observe the big picture, including what is coming up. The easiest way to lose good fortune is to take it for granted or to abuse the privilege. And then we have card 45, the gathering together. Water travels for hundreds of miles, sometimes beginning as a tiny stream, disappearing beneath the soil, eventually resurfacing. In time, the rivulets become rivers, strengthened by the journey of merging with others. The mightiest river is formed in this way, and finally it carves its course through stone over millennia in its unstoppable journey to reach the sea. The process is essentially the same on a human scale, joining with others, creatively resolving all kinds of challenges, being patient with differences, and persevering through hard times makes reaching the goal not only possible but even more rewarding. The real treasure, however, lies in not in reaching conclusions, but in the day-to-day journey itself. The value of gathering together is only revealed over time once the process of mutual commitment has intensified and the respect for the shared capacity of the group is in place. In this incidental way, without exhaustive effort, the strength and maturity of each individual grows as a byproduct of merging with others. Like I said, the sum is greater than its parts. Let's see the changing lines here. 1. It is wise to be clear with yourself what is prompting your involvement with a group and the direction that involvement is taking. Take the time to realign with your intuition before coming to a decision. Few things are more painful than prolonged indecision, and the resolution of a dilemma lies within your own self. Line 2, trust in your innate capacity and to creatively endure under all kinds of adversity. Remembering that will help when sharing in the responsibilities of a group, because when sharing in the responsibilities of a group becomes quite a stretch, you may be surprised to find you're a source of strength for others during shaky times. Line 3, remember that glitches are part of every process of growing, and that growth is very much what is happening for you and everyone else involved. It's through the rough patches that our true colors are exposed and our commitment deepened. They can also highlight where fine tuning is needed. If you're confused or ambivalent about your role, find somebody whom you trust and talk it through. In line 5, ideally, leaders would only be necessary for providing good counsel, helping to keep communications flowing, preventing stagnation, and functioning as spokespeople when needed. Then leaders would gracefully withdraw, like a stream becoming invisible but still providing nourishment from a deeper, less obvious place. Only if you're willing to make a graceful exit when the time comes, as it is appropriate for you to take the center stage now. Extending yourself toward others, feeling in sync with them, and being received by them is an enriching, heartwarming experience. Moments of celebration, feasting, making music, singing, sitting in silence all contribute to strengthening the entity and aliveness of a collective experience. There is nothing as revitalizing to a sense of well-being and purpose as wholehearted participation with others. So whether it's just your counterpart that's coming in or the soul family or group that you all are gonna undoubtedly connect with once you gotten your union together, it's gonna just continue to expand. Like I said, you can't hide this kind of love under a basket. It is designed to get out there and be the very best kind of contagion or virus out there. It's a love no one's ever seen before, a cooperative partnership. It's an alchemical union that is going to expand. You're going to manifest a whole lot of stuff. Like I said, not to be an intrusive uh, collaborator, but lead and guide and then fall back, and lead and guide and then fall back. Cooperate, work well, but not get overly egotistical, and then fall back. And this is something that is going to help everyone that comes in contact with it. And because of that, you're turning inward, but there is a rejoicing and celebration here. Let's look at turning inward. It's 4 of Cups, or water rather. Same. Why did I thought I just had, oh, I forgot Ace is at the bottom, at the top of this thing. The woman in this image has a faint smile on her face. In fact, she is just watching the antics of the mind, not judging, not trying to stop them, not identified, just watching as if they were traffic on the road or ripples on the surface of a pond. And the antics of the mind are slightly amusing as it jumps up and down and twists this way and that, trying to get your attention and seduce you into the game. To develop the knack of taking a distance from the mind is one of the greatest blessings. It is what meditation is all about, really. Not chanting a mantra or repeating an affirmation, but just watching, as if the mind belongs to somebody else. You are ready to take this distance now and to watch the show without getting caught up in the drama. Indulge yourself in the simple freedom of turning in whenever you can, and the knack of meditation will grow and deepen within you. Turning inwards is not a turning at all. Going inwards is not a going at all. Turning inwards simply means that you have been running after this desire and that, and you've been running and running, and you've been coming again and again to frustration. That each desire brings misery, that there is no fulfillment through desire, that you never reach anywhere, that contentment is impossible. Seeing this truth that running after desires takes you nowhere, you stop. Not that you make any effort to stop. If you make any effort to stop, it is again running in a subtle way. You are still desiring. Maybe now it is desirelessness that you desire. If you are making an effort to go in, you are still going out. Any effort can only take you out, not outwards. All journeys are outward journeys. There is no inward journey. How can you journey inwards? You are going there. There is no point in going. When going stops clouding your mind, you are in. This is called turning in, but it is not a turning in at all. It is a simply not going out. That's a mind bender and a tongue twister for you, but it is food for thought for sure. Because I think a lot of times, especially when I hear people say that they can't meditate, they can't quiet their mind, I really want to shake them till their teeth rattle, but I can't do that either. Because again, that's something they have to figure out for themselves. But they surely can quiet their mind if they wanted to and were determined and understood that it's something that needs to be done. You're never going to completely quiet your mind. That ain't the way it's set up. But you don't have to listen to and follow every little rabbit hole that it throws at you, and that's the point. Now, for this last, it's not the last position we pull, but in that particular spread, the resolution is here. And we have the turning point along with affluence. And the changing lines that we have here are 2, 3. Wait a minute. No, it's not. It's 3, 4, 5, and 6 are 3, 4, 5, and 6 are the changing lines. So with affluence, let's see what we got. Supreme success. Fire above, sky below. Like the proverbial pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, a person whose fortunes have turned for the better shines brightly now. At the core of true success lies generosity and modesty. It is a tendency of a flexible or yielding nature to draw powerful forces to it, especially when prosperity begins to manifest. When this added power is wielded with grace and dignity, we have supreme success and great abundance. But be careful. Along with any accumulation of wealth or influence, along with any accumulation of wealth or influence can come an increase of pride and arrogance. Fight this tendency if you want your good fortune to continue. Stay attentive enough to manage your affairs well, and remember that while prosperity beats the alternative, it is only one element of a satisfying life. And I just messed around and closed the book. I'm so sorry. I should have put a marker in there. A lasting prosperity is one that honors the highest values and furthers the collective good. And then again, we have 3, 4, 5, and 6. Line 3, philanthropy is an obligation of those in possession of mature wealth. Okay, so now we got the love thing down, and I told you the money is coming with it, so we're getting some guidance from Spirit about what to do with it when it comes. Philanthropy is an obligation of those in possession of mature wealth. By donating a portion of wealth to support the greater good, wealthy people can avoid becoming possessed by their possessions. On the other side, those who lack resources need not feel shame in asking for or receiving assistance. All wealth is a passing trust to be administered by people for a short time. A small-minded individual who is ignorant of and lacking this attitude will be controlled by what they own and the desire to accumulate more and more. Even though they have the potential power of abundance, they squander it or hoard it and therefore can never be joyful and free. Line 4. If pride and envy have surfaced in your life, let them go. Do not try to compete with others' projected self images. Competing with another person's ego gets you nowhere. It is a supreme waste of time and energy. Consider the dilemma of average people who consort with the rich and powerful. When dining with the elite, the poorer person must sometimes pick up the check. Be willing to do so without hesitation or resentment, and you will remain free in spirit and be the equal of those around you. Line 5. The person who is able to win over others by sincerity and a sense of dignity always finds themselves in a favorable position. This applies as much to those of great wealth and stature as to anyone else. A combination of emotional honesty and personal dignity produces the best results. Those who can maintain such qualities even while responding to improper behavior have good fortune assured. In line 6, you are blessed by divine providence. This is a time for improvement in every way. Supreme success goes to those who are in the world but not of it, who, in the fullness of possession and at the height of their influence, remain modest and wink toward heaven. Providence helps those who live with faith and gratitude, and who help other people help the one who is true. To those who have these qualifiers, more will be given. And then we had the turning point 24. Nature moves in a continuously unfolding cycle of seasons, and there is no point at which its motion entirely stops. Nevertheless, we can sense a kind of pause that happens on the cusp of these cyclical changes. At the winter solstice, for example, when the period of rest and darkness reaches its zenith and the season of activity and light begins to return, it is as if the whole of nature holds its breath for a moment. A subtle shift takes place that is only perceptible to those who have refined and expanded their own sensitivities to include that which can never be captured as a fixed moment in time. Yeah. All right, I don't have to read all of that. So the changing lines for the turning point. 3, the mind lives in the duality of either or, not in the wholeness of unfolding change. If you seem to be stuck in what if mode, fretting over the path not taken, imagining that the other alternative would have been better, it's a good indication that the mind is running your show. Slip out of the theater and go jogging, swimming, dancing, for a long walk in the woods, anything physical to get your energy out of your head and into your body. Otherwise, you're in danger of driving yourself nuts and maybe taking a few other people along for the ride. 4, the time for making a fresh start can be like coming home after a long, exhausting journey. It does not require effort, only a willingness to stay open and receptive to the flow of energy that is beginning to build up from within. Contemplating the cyclic patterns that recur throughout your life and in a wider sense throughout all of nature puts you in touch with the rhythms of the increase and decrease that echo infinitely throughout time and space. Allow these rhythms to take you into the next phase of your life without worrying if others will follow. 5, being fully present this moment and each moment as it comes creates an inner spaciousness where everything moves a little slower with more grace. You might be aware that there is no urgency to go anywhere or do anything, but take care that this easiness does not fall back into complacency. The new growth cycle that is coming needs your alertness as well as your relaxation, your intelligence, alongside your intuition. And then the 6th line, There are few things more painful or more counterproductive than to feel stuck in a situation of frustration and defeat. But sometimes we can get so habituated to hopelessness that we can miss the signals that circumstances are loosening up and getting ready to change. Make sure you don't miss the first signs of a thaw in the long frozen landscape. Remember that one hard winter does not make an ice age unless you keep insisting that it's too cold to go outside. You get more of what you focus on. And of course, we got to look at completion here. Excuse me. Here's the last piece of a jigsaw puzzle. Here, a last piece of a jigsaw puzzle is being put into its place, the position of the third eye, the place of inner perception. Even in the ever-changing flow of life, there are moments in which we come to a point of completion. In these moments, we are able to perceive the whole picture, the composite of all the small pieces that have occupied our attention for so long. In the finishing, we can either be in despair because we don't want the situation to come to an end, or we can be grateful and accepting of the fact that life is full of endings and new beginnings. Whatever has been absorbing your time and energy is now coming to an end. In completing it, you will be clearing the space for something new to begin. Use this interval, to celebrate both the end of the old and the coming of the new. This is the way of Zen, not to say things to their completion. This has to be understood. It is a very important methodology. Not to say everything means to give an opportunity to the listener to complete it. All answers are incomplete. The master has only given you a direction. By the time you reach the limit, you will know what is going to remain. This way, if somebody is trying to understand Zen intellectually, he will fail. It is not an answer to the question, but something more than the answer. It is indicating the very reality. The Buddha nature is not something far away. Your very consciousness is a Buddha nature, and your consciousness can witness these things which constitute the world. The world will end, but the mirror will remain, mirroring nothing. And then our very last set of cards is the overall energy or overall message from Spirit, closing this out as we go. And we have this pushing upward with returning. And the changing lines here are 2, 3, and 6. Okay. So we're going to look at returning. Earth above. Here I go again with the back of the card. Earth above, thunder below. A turning point recharges you and eventually brings success. This hexagram is associated with the turning of darkness back toward the light. With the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, the day when darkness begins to decrease and the hours of daylight start to increase. This is the cusp of a turnaround, a time for letting go of the old and making way for the new, a time of new beginnings, and it all starts with rest. Don't move too fast, as a new momentum is just beginning. This turnaround requires that your energy be recharged by adequate rest so that your life force is not depleted prematurely. This principle of hibernation, of allowing energy to renew itself and be strengthened by rest, applies to many situations. Recuperation, after an illness, the slow return of trust after a period of estrangement, the careful development of new relationships after the splitting apart of old ones. And again, I said the changing lines here were 2, 3, and 6. Okay. Line 2, spectacular comebacks in any field are a sign of self-mastery. Achieving success the first time on the strength of one's natural abilities is good luck. Coming back after failure or disappointment indicates true strength of character. Follow the example of such people. They have much to teach you about discarding egocentric concerns and embracing the good. Such self control brings great fortune. 3. Those who continually reverse their direction through a lack of self control run great risk and are sometimes thought to be brilliant, but more often they are foolish and unstable. Be sure to chart a steady course and move steadily toward your goal. And 6, blind obstinacy brings misfortune because opportunities available to the open minded are lost when rigid pride prevails. Once a golden opportunity has been missed, trying to recreate it will not work. The best course of action in such a situation is to be humble, let go, and learn from your mistakes. Definitely. And then we have card 46, pushing upward. Oh, wrong book. Sorry. There is nothing standing in the way of your progress now. A great deal of preparation and change has coalesced to bring about this propitious time. Whatever is needed to support your best interest can be accessed easily now. Support may come from a variety of sources, and what you need will be made available with very little effort on your part. Wow. Now you can appreciate all those past struggles that have been an essential part of your journey up to now, that have served you well by strengthening your determination to hold fast and carry on. This empowered inner sense is essential to achieving true success. The possibility of realizing a long cherished dream is finally becoming a reality. It's timely to ask for help from those who are in a position to guide you. They will be more than willing to lend an ear and offer sound advice. Don't get distracted by emotional euphoria that may fill your head at odd moments. Keep your feet firmly planted on the ground and attend to the business of being ordinary. The progress that is brought this time about can continue unabated if you're willing and able to stay in tune with events as they occur without getting ahead of yourself. It says that an extraordinary timing has been at work in the events that have transpired to create the current situation. In retrospect, it will become clear that many things you never planned or expected were instruments of a grand design that has brought you to the present circumstance. Keep your vision wide, be willing to hear what others have to say, and be supportive when others come to you for guidance. Drop any hesitations or doubts that might threaten to hold you back. They will be out of sync with the present reality. Indulging in doubtful thinking or postponing what needs to be done would send a message that you're not ready or willing to receive what is being given to you. When others sense your reluctance, they are apt to withdraw. Doubts have a tendency to become infectious. This is the moment to reach for the stars. Be courageous and anchor yourself in the rich soil of goodwill that supports you, and accept your good fortune with gratitude. You can, in your own style, make a difference, not only for yourself, but for the world you live in. Take care to maintain a balance within yourself, in your activities, and in your relations with others. Otherwise, the present surge of enthusiasm might denigrate or might degenerate into a workaholic addiction. This would create an unfortunate imbalance, and if it happens, it needs to be addressed as soon as it is recognized. No need to push the river, it is already moving swiftly, and you can enjoy the ride. The flowering that is happening now is well deserved, and congratulations are in order. Now get back to work. Wow. Okay. So now we got to look here at, what did I say? 1, 2, and 6. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Let me see. No, 2, 2, 3, and 6. Yeah. You've been carrying a treasure that might have gone unrecognized up until now, either because of your own modesty or because others have been looking for more obvious talents. Now you might find yourself suddenly appreciated for qualities that you didn't know you had or knew, but have long taken for granted. It might throw you off balance a little at first, but what a pleasant surprise. Don't make a fuss about it, even when others might be making a fuss over you. All that's needed is that you keep on being who you are. Now it is so easy to make great strides in the direction you have so long wanted to go that you might be in danger of undermining the process with a lack of humbleness. Or you might begin to suspect that it's all too good to be true and undermine your confidence with your own skepticism. Best is to stay watchful and centered in yourself and proceed with a combination of enthusiasm and caution. A flexible attitude will allow you to step lightly around any unexpected obstacles that might arise. And line 6, take care not to get so carried away by the momentum of the times that you get caught in pushing upward just for the sake of being taller than everyone else. This would be a little like blowing out all the candles on your birthday cake and getting your wish, but being so ungrateful and greedy that you declare an end to the party and begin to eat the whole cake on your own. You've missed the point somewhere, and if your belly isn't already hurting, it soon will be. Oh, wow. Now, and then as far as the card, we have Harmony here with the 10 of Water as our final card to take a peek at. The experience of resting in the heart in meditation is not something that can be grasped or forced. It comes naturally as we grow more and more in tune with the rhythms of our own inner silences. The figure on this card reflects the sweetness and delicacy of this experience. The dolphins that emerge from the heart and make an arc towards the third eye reflect the playfulness and intelligence that comes when we are able to connect with the heart and move into the world from there. Let yourself be softer and more receptive now because an inexpressible joy is waiting for you just around the corner. Nobody else can point it out to you, and when you find it, you won't be able to find the words to express to others, but it's there, deep within your heart, ripe and ready to be discovered. Listen to your heart, move according to your heart, whatsoever the stake, a condition of complete simplicity costing not less than everything. To be simple is arduous because to be simple costs everything that you have. You have to lose all to be simple. That is why people have chosen to be complex and they have forgotten how to be simple. But only a simple heart throbs with God hand in hand. Only a simple heart sings with God in deep harmony. To reach to that point, you will have to find your heart, your own throb, your own beat. Wow, family. But hey, like you said, I mean, honestly, for what you're calling in, giving up or walking away from everything else it only seems like giving up something. You're giving up in order to gain everything. This is your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and share with those who may benefit from it, especially that counterpart if you know who it is. Until next time, soul family, I love you. Thank you for letting me read for you. Peace and blessings. Namaste.